Nice crowd we've got today. Before we start with our program with going around, I want to introduce, where's Janice and Nicole Kiker. Janice Kispert from Rape Crisis, Nicole Kiker from Silver Oak Academy.
Thank you, Nancy. Good morning. As Nancy said, Janice Kispert, Rape Crisis Intervention Service. Sorry, I still have a little piece of bacon in my mouth. I'm multitasking. Don't we gals know how to do that? Yeah. We have our 5th annual Walk 'em on Her Shoes event coming up on Saturday, April 13th. And if you've been to these events before, you know how powerful it is and what a statement it is for men to be walking literally a mile in women's heels to take a stand against sexual violence. I'm so tickled, so honored. Every year we have the folks from Silver Oak Academy walk. And you know, for them, this is a privilege. They have to earn this privilege to walk. Can you believe it? Earn a privilege to walk a mile in women's heels. But anyway, they do it every year. So I think they're here today to ask for your support, to support them in the walk. It's a fabulous event. If you've seen our website, you'll see pictures of these guys. They always lead the walk off. They carry our banner. So I just want to thank everybody. You guys do an awesome job. I can't wait to see you on Saturday, April 13th. And gals, you can walk too. We don't wear heels. You wear your flats. I can't. Do you see me wearing heels? Come on, we put our time in. So we invite you. We need sponsors. We need walkers. So check it out. Support these guys. They really do it for the cause, and that's what it's all about. And they're in pain. And in pain, yeah. So thank you all. Anything else you want me to say? Just okay. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Sandoval, and I am a student from Silver Oak Academy. This is our 3rd year participating in the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes. Walk a Mile is a fundraiser to benefit RCIS, Rape Crisis Intervention Services, located in Westminster, MD. During the event, men like ourselves walk in high heels to raise awareness of sexual assault, child sex abuse, and rape. Funds raised will support the 24-hour crisis hotline and walk-in clinics. RCIs provides free counseling plus support to victims and families, as well as professional training and prevention education.
Hey, how everybody doing? I'm James Cooper. These are some statistics of why we're here today. Excuse me. In 70% of sexual assault cases, the victim knows the predator. Rape is the most underreported crime in the United States. Out of every 100 cases, only 41 are reported. 12 lead to an arrest, 9 cases lead to prosecution, 5 cases lead to a felony conviction, and in 3 cases, the perpetrator ends up serving time in prison. Out of every 100 cases, 97 perpetrators walk away free. This could be any of y'all family members, your mother, your sister, anyone can happen to. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Malik Bass from Silver Oak Academy, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about this fundraiser. Each year, a number of men and women and their family join the Walk a Mile in Her Shoes, the Men's March to Stop Rape, Sexual Assault, and Gender Violence. A Walk a Mile in Her Shoes event is an opportunity for men to raise awareness in the community about the serious causes, effects, and sexual violence. We ask for your support in our efforts to raise funds for this event. We believe as young men in the importance of helping women and the families who are victims and also in giving back to the community. We will be collecting donations today to support our work. Thank you.
Give a round of applause for these guys. Any other gentlemen in here want a pair of shoes? No? Okay. Before we get started, thank you. Before we get started, I want to introduce our mayor, Jim McCarron.
Morning, everybody. It's good to have you here, particularly since we could be about 18 inches of snow out there, but isn't it wonderful that it's not? We're looking forward to our first spring weekend. It's supposed to be up into the mid and upper 50s and in the 60s Monday and Tuesday, so I can hardly wait. But it's good to have everybody here. It's nice to have a big crowd today. I think you're going to enjoy the program. Be a lot of good information to share for you. We have an old friend come back to visit us, but I want to get into that program more quickly, so I'm not going to spend much time. Be generous with these folks as they come around. You see I've got my dollar out. Actually, I'm going to get them more than $1, but be generous as they come around. Again, I'm Jim McCarron. I'm your mayor. I'm glad to be here this morning.
Casey's been a consultant with the Small Business Development Center out of College Park, and one of the most dynamic human beings and consultants as far as small business goes. Amy is kind of an offshoot in a way. She sounds like Casey. She's coming across like Casey, and she's local here. And what we're doing now, we have the path with John Wheatman over here. We start with intakes, such as somebody comes into my office and said, I want to start a business, or I'm having a problem. So I send them down to John. John talks to them. Then they go into the Miller Business Center with Amy and that team that works in there, so that we end up with strong business owners and good business owners, which we want to see grow like 49 years with Wayne Chevrolet. So it is my pleasure to introduce Casey Wilson.
Well, thanks, Nancy. It's really a pleasure to be here. This is my third Taneytown Business Breakfast, and I really enjoy being here for a number of reasons. One is the hospitality that Nancy has always shown me. I first met Nancy and the late, great Stan Ruckelwitz when I was presenting in an empty storefront in the Westminster Mall. That's when I first met Nancy. And since then, I've been working for the Small Business and Technology Development Center at the University of Maryland. And one of the changes that's occurred is that we do have a T. We're only one of 9 SBDCs in the United States to have a technology designation, which means that if there's anybody here that's involved in tech, commercialization of technology, or technology transfer, we're also a certified group for that. But as you probably all know, we do 2 main things: low-cost training. Amy's next event is free, so it doesn't get much more low cost than that. And we do no-cost confidential counseling for any small business in the state of Maryland. No cost to the client. And it's a nationwide program, by the way. Every state's got one, and I'm happy to be here. The other reason I'm happy to be here today is because you folks are the future. And there's really not much I can add to what was said here today. This is the way this country's moving. You folks are testimony to that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about almost everything that's been touched on here today. Brooke is up here using a handheld device. Somebody referenced Facebook. We've got fundraising, volunteers, nonprofits, for-profits, small business people trying to serve their customers, some who have done it for almost 50 years. That's the way we're moving back. The media truck out front. Local community matters. And that's where the resurgence we're going to find in this economy is going to come from. I was talking to Keith, who I've been kicking around with for 10 years, and he says, man, this was supposed to turn around 5-6 years ago. Well, it is going to turn around, and it's going to be due to the activity that we're seeing right here in this room. So when we talk about, we don't really need to talk about this much, do we? Because we've been talking about it for 7 years, a changing economy. How about that stock market? I put in an extra slide just since I talked to Keith this morning. I'll talk about that in just a second. Have we noticed that gas prices have been going up? Yeah. And that happens to impact rural communities twice as much as it does urban communities. So you folks feel the brunt of that more than anybody. Retail and restaurant sales, we'll be talking to some folks today. Wages, unemployment, and purchasing power. You realize that your consumer dollar has been losing purchasing power for the last 10, 15 years. If 1984 is 100, we're about almost halfway down below that now with what your dollar can buy. Commercial real estate, residential real estate, we know about that. Inflation, you don't see it, but it occurs. Credit and capital, we've got our bankers here. I'm going to reference this in more detail, John, this afternoon with our economic development people. Quantitative easing, does everybody know what that is? Right? Federal Reserve buys $85 billion a month of mortgage-backed securities and commercial paper from the banks. $85 million a month is how much money we're creating right now. Economic confidence, that's good. Everybody in this room is confident. And we're the ones who are going to make the difference. And technology, folks, the world of business that we deal in has changed more in the last 5 years than it's changed in the last 200. And the next 5 years is going to see increasing change due to technology, from the way you run your business and the way you communicate with your customer. Here's that stock market. This is yesterday, folks. Third record high in 3 days. We're right back to where we were in 2007, except that there are 4 times as many people unemployed. There are 3 times as many people on food stamps. Housing prices are still down 29% nationwide. So there's a few factors in, and our deficit's up by $3 trillion. Other than that, it's just the same as 2007. By the way, the top 1% of income earners own 35% of the stocks. The next 9% own 46% of the stocks. And oh, by the way, us 90% own 19% of the stocks. So what's that say to an economy that's driven 72% by consumer spending? This 90% doesn't own this high, right? And when you add it, just over 50% of the people own stocks anyway. So when I saw on Fox News the other night a guy going, rejoice, rejoice, we're right back to where we were in 2007. Take that with a grain of salt. What is business? Let me ask our Wayne Chevrolet people. Let me ask Ben. Let me ask Ms. Stone, the baker. Anybody that owns a small business. What is business? How would you define it? Our insurance people, our bankers. Anybody got a definition of what is business? How simple is business? What is it? Thank you, sir. Creating a customer. That's what it is. That's what we all do. Nonprofits as well, by the way. We create a customer. We create somebody that does business with us. I didn't make it up. Peter Drucker, and this gentleman over here made it up. Peter Drucker, the father of American management, right? Creating a customer. So when we think about all our customers, nothing we do happens in a vacuum. Keith and I were talking about this morning. There are things going on all around us. And these young people are going to have to step in to shoes, other than high heels perhaps, and carry forward with the conditions that you're going to meet out there. Here's U.S. consumer spending. You can look at the Gallup poll. This is yesterday off the Gallup poll. This is the average amount of dollars Americans spend out of pocket, okay? Everything except for their regular bills, like their mortgage, their car payment, you know, those type of things. This is daily out of pocket, so it is gasoline. But it's food, clothing, entertainment, everything you guys just fork out money for, or going to your place, Brooke. Back here, just before the bottom fell out in 2008 of the stock market, Americans were spending about $130 a day. Let's go to the mall, you know, let's go to our local place, let's get some entertainment. If you look down here now, as of yesterday, spending about $90 out of pocket. You can see the spike for a holiday. We had a good holiday. $90, that's good. That's coming back. It's still 31% less than at the peak, okay? So that's what we're dealing with as business people. This is us. This is the consumers. This is what comes out of our pocket every day. But here's the confidence. People are feeling better. Now, we hit a 5-year high just after the holidays. That was a 5-year high of economic confidence of how Americans feel. 2 questions. How do you feel about it today, and how do you feel it's going to be? So it's been on an uptick. How do you guys feel? Well, I think I know the answer to that, because I heard everybody here talk about what they're doing, what they're involved in, how their business is doing. I ate at Ben's last night. You know, I can see it with my own eyes, and I can hear it from you all in the community. And this is a statistic. Somebody said, oh, I hope it's turning around. And I said to them before we started, well, in 2012, 65% of independently owned businesses said their revenues increased. The blue is the independent businesses. This is the Institute of Local Self-Reliance. You guys, small businesses. So last year, 65% saw an increase in revenue in independently owned businesses. Well, given that groundwork, what the market's like, how you're feeling, and all the elements in the economy, What's the future going to hold? Do you know what the logo is on the Taneytown Chamber of Commerce website? Does our president know back there? A little phrase at the bottom of the chamber website. It says, today is yesterday's tomorrow. All right? So what have you done in the last 24 hours to move into the future, given what you know is going on around you? More importantly, what are we going to do in the next couple years, knowing what's going on around us? And for you young guys, that's Babe Ruth and Yogi Berra. Okay, you probably don't recognize those dudes. All right. So here's the National Retail Federation Conference, which was held in January. This is all the retailers from across the United States. Here's what's going on. As business people who create customers, you've got to be aware of what's going on in your community, most importantly, but also what's going on in the country. Thriftiness is the new high. That means it's not how much did I spend for a new set of golf clubs. It's where did I get that purse? What did that purse cost me? How great is it? How smart was I to get that purse? Thriftiness is the new high with your customers, how good they're shopping. Of course, this fellow over here's got 850 grand to spend. He doesn't care. Customers are more prepared. What's that mean? That means 82% of people look on the internet before they make any major purchasing decision. Wayne Chevrolet, you can believe your customers are out there looking around. They come to you. Huh? 95%. Okay? And we're out here in what I would call rural, small town America. All right? Less is more in design and shopping. That means people are going a little bit more minimalist. They're using the internet. The brick and mortar stores are not merchandised quite as fully as they were back in my day. I've had 7 shoe stores, 110 clothing stores, 13 optical shops, 23 bicycle shops. I've really made my life in small business. And now it's more about focusing them, information. They come in prepared. The store is a showroom for online retailers. We do a whole thing about showrooming. You've all probably heard it, especially in electronics. You take one of these, you go into your store, and you compare prices while you're shopping. And if you find it cheaper somewhere else, you get the information, you go buy it online, right? Generational divides within the labor force. You know, for the first time in our labor force, we have 4 distinct generations working. First time. The traditionalists, the boomers, some of us are senior boomers, the X's, the Y's, and the millennials. We're all out there together, and believe me, we're different. We're different. Yeah, Keith.
Would you call the government and give them bullet point number 1 there and see if you can instill that in them?
Well said. I love this lady's comment. You'd be amazed what you can do without government money. And I'm going to tell you my bottom line right now. Here's my bottom line right now, and I usually end up with this one. I'm going to say it right now since Keith prompted me. Here's my thought. If the government does not screw up the value of the dollar, we'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. And that's what's happening right here. If they would leave us a dollar that's solid, and I'll talk those statistics today, John, M1 and M2, there's more money in this system than have ever been in the system of the United States before. Cash, coin, check deposits, demand deposits, more than ever. The banks are sitting on $1.6 trillion of bank reserves. They're not lending it. And we've got more money out there than ever, and the velocity is lower than it's ever been. So we got to make it happen community-wise. You guys said it. Yes, sir.
But personal savings are way down.
Personal savings are down again. We deleveraged.
And not stopping.
No, we deleveraged for a minute. People started to build down their, and save and build down their debt, and now there's consumer debt's back up a little bit, which is one of the reasons we've seen the spending go back up. We've all got to be cognizant of that. Thank you. Staffing cuts, some of you, and this relates to retailers and businesses cutting back on staff. You heard the robotics client that I think Marlene mentioned. What's robotics? Productivity. You know, how many times you do the self-checkout at the supermarket? What's happened to the toll collectors, you know, on the highways? Anyway, that's a whole other discussion about productivity. Customers are coming in with blinders on. That means when these young guys come into your store, they've got earplugs in and they're looking at a handheld. They know what they want. And there are ways to get around that. We could talk about it. There's so much to talk about, folks, in the world we live in today. Amazon, I do a seminar called GAFA, Doing Business in the World of GAFA. Google, Apple, Facebook, and Amazon changed dramatically. Stalking the customers through big data. You know, in the next 2 years that when you get in your car, that car is going to collect information about you, where you go, how you drive, what you do in your car. It's going to send it back. and they're going to use it to market to you while you're driving your car. Just something to look forward to. Products will find their way to customers in unconventional places. What that means is you get out of a bus stop, there's a QR code, an ad, you shoot it with your smartphone. Oh, look at this. I can go down the street and get a big gulp for $1. So you're going to find this marketing becoming more pervasive through technology. So this is where us say we're going to cut back the most. Okay, this is a survey which says, here's what Americans are going to cut back the most on, given the economy that we got to be cognizant of. Fine dining, 71% of Americans say that white tablecloth experience is going to be less important. Okay? You get down here to the bottom, we're still spending money at gas stations, aren't we? We're still spending money for food, pharmacies, quick service and fast food, but you look up at the top, fine dining, furnishings, electronic, bars. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm not sure what people are saying. They're not telling the truth on that one because usually, you know, it's comfort food. Hotels, clothing. But so, with all this going on, and we've just scratched the surface of really what's going on, our job, and you people have already done it, that's why I don't know how much I have to add to this, is an intelligent response. That means we understand what we're doing, we think about it, and we come back to our communities and we do the right thing. And you guys are doing it. I mean, I don't know what it can add. You heard what everybody said. But that's our job as business people and as citizens and as volunteers. We make an intelligent response to what's going on around us. What have we got going? What have we got going? For one thing, this. This fellow wrote the book in 2005 called The Long Emergency, where he predicted everything. He became quite famous and well known. Because in 2005, he said, this residential stuff is not going to hold. This market run-up is not going to hold because there's not economic fundamentals. And he was right. His name's James Howard Kunstler. He wrote The Long Emergency. And this is what he said back then. Nancy's seen this in every seminar I've done. The future tells me that the larger cities will be in big trouble. The action will be in the small towns and the smaller cities. That's where the action. Why? Because we're resilient. And especially if we're surrounded by farmland and agriculture. What's one of the hottest things in food right now? Farm to table, farmers markets. Organic food has gone up almost 1,200% in sales, while regular market food's gone up single digits. So this is what we've got to see what's happening as business people. Okay, so here, and I was just in conversation with Jim this week. He was in the hospital, but we were emailing. Here's what I did with Jim. He was on an interview on a website, which I think you would all like. It's called peakprosperity.com. So Chris Martinson, the founder of the website, and Jim were in a dialogue. So I typed in my question. I said, what would you two say if you were standing up in front of a group of small-town business people, independent business owners? What would you say to them as you're talking about the future? 2 days later, Jim wrote an article called Scale Implosion. It showed up 2 days later on his website. It went viral. It's on Business Insider, Huffington Post. It's all over the internet right now. And what he says is, what you can count on is that we will return to the traditional mode of assembling human habitats, Taneytown and surrounds. Integral, walkable places on a variable scale, village, town, city, work, commerce, housing, culture, woven together. See that right here. In a recognizable form of real civic engagement, not a cartoon one. And what are you guys? What did you all just say? Your real civic engagement. Places that add up, I get emotional, to more than the sum of their parts. So you can read that. But what's that mean? Smaller. Can't get much smaller than Taneytown. Closer. That means we live closer. And simpler. That's the move. And if you haven't seen it, Walmart had their worst February ever. Did you all hear about the email being leaked? The Walmart emails that got leaked from the president of Walmart. He said, February sales are a total disaster. Well, part of that's because the 90% of the bottom aren't seeing all this increase in purchasing power, even to go to Walmart. Okay, that's part of it. But changing habits, more local. I mean, I've got friends in West Virginia who will not, if it says China, I don't care how cheap it is. I ain't buying it. And these are the good old boys, you know, living back in the woods. And they say, hey, if we all do this, we'll see a change. I had a friend on this website email me and say, you know what? You stop paying into the system, we'll starve it. Okay? That can be government and these big businesses. We want to shop with you guys. So here's Main Street's Avenue to Revitalization. And you all know this. Nancy runs it here in Taneytown. The two pieces that I've added, Maryland's added clean, safe, and green. I've added individual merchant excellence, which means that each one of us who own a business run that business to the best of our abilities, given our concept, given our customer definition, okay? I had two very distinct experiences last night with two different customers. I ate at Ben's. I ate at the family restaurant, Bradley Family Restaurant? Bentley's Family Restaurants, and then I went down to the Antrim to have a glass of wine, okay? Two different concepts, two different customer definitions. The people at Ben's were just as happy as the people at the Antrim. The staffs were both excellent, okay? Different concept that both were executing against. That's the individual merchant excellence. The group excellence, here it sits. We're preaching to the choir. That's where everybody bands together as a group and creates a community that is economically viable, and they do it so well that we draw out-of-market guests. I use this. I'm in a lot of markets. I'm doing a big community revitalization effort around the Branch Avenue Metro stop just southwest of DC. It's a whole different market, okay? And we use this with those folks. And if you look at this pyramid of what it makes to have a good community, you start down here. If it's messy, dirty, and unsafe, you're off to a slow start. Clean and safe, first basis. We got that here. Welcoming public spaces. You guys have just had a great cityscape here. Attractive environment, more of that. Programmed and promoted, information kiosks, history trails. You heard about John talk about Gettysburg. You guys are going to be bombarded with out-of-market guests. You get a shot at them, and you do it so well that they come back even when there's not a sesquipotential, or whatever that is. Attractive street life, vibrant uses, but this is how we work our way up. Most of our small towns have 90% of this already. 80% of Americans say, I want to shop with somebody I know, because not only do I feel good about it, it does. It warms my heart and makes me feel better, okay? So we've got the foundation here. You guys are maximizing it. Buy local. I went to Chestertown last week. They said, you don't even have to say that. That's a commandment. We can skip that, although I'm going to Calvert County next week to do a county-wide buy local program with them. But we know this is true, right? This is the concept I want to introduce to you all, but it's almost moot to do it here because you already do it. It's called Co-opetition. Co-opetition. It came out of the Silicon Valley in the 90s when the digital revolution was being invented. And the idea there was, you know, we can make this industry occur if we cooperate with each other instead of compete. We'll grow the industry, which is what they did. So when I read this, I just changed the word industry to community. Long-term business success comes from not solely competing successfully within your current community, but also from being an active participant in shaping the community's future. That's what you guys are doing. That way you create opportunities for future success the way you want them to be, rather than simply making do with the way things are. That's the key. What are the trends? What are we seeing? How are our customers behaving? What new is evolving? And how do we capitalize on that? Creating a business for the customer. So it's basically this. When I think about competitors in the community, I usually think about the eateries. You know, you get 8 restaurants, you get 6, and my little hometown, you know, we've got 8 or 9 restaurants, but rather than competing directly, we look at them as complementers, and there are complementary businesses. Take a home improvement store, a furniture store, and a hardware store. They're things that fit together. Those are complementers. And your company's right in there. You've got competitors, you've got complementary businesses, and you're all going after that same customer. But this expands now. So now the mayor's here. We're talking municipal government. We're talking council. We're talking, what does the government, how does it cooperate with the businesses and the citizens? The Main Street organization, the chambers of commerce, the associations, business and civic associations that are here today. And finally, the resources for small businesses. When I first did this, I had the SBA, DHCD, DBED, state agencies, county agencies, community colleges. We don't compete with each other. We use our resources to really bring what's deliverable to the community. Because you do get territorial disputes. People are talking about clients and funding and that sort of thing. But we're doing it in this room right here. You guys are overcoming competition, complementary businesses, working together with nonprofits to make things happen in this community. Basic ideas. Let me run you through some stuff that's happening, okay? Business improvement districts. Nancy's already on their website as a business improvement district, and that is she looks at the real estate, she talks to Keith, she looks at the vacancies, she looks at the rates. Anybody that says, hey, I'm thinking about Taneytown, like this lady with the bakery, she says, oh, we got this space, that space, here's the talk, here's the landlord, here's what we can do for you, et cetera, et cetera. That's basic ideas. Revisit zoning. I mean, this is the mayor and the council. Permitting, inspection, occupancy expediency. That's everything from the county of Montgomery County to the city of Annapolis. Let's make it quick, let's make it easy, let's cut through the bureaucracy, let's get these businesses open. Enhanced highway signage, I mean, that's a basic. My big idea, all these historic signs have a QR code on it. We'll get to that in a minute. Somebody driving down the highway, they shoot it with their camera. Oh, look at all this stuff that's happening in Taneytown. Or you could also go to TripAdvisor, as you would on your handheld. But you can actually use a QR code for that. That just is basic. Every community should be involved in this. Programming the downtown, this is what I do with Main Streets. This is what you guys are doing. Look at point number 2. History is the context for the experience. Thank you, John. That's exactly what's going to be happening here. Creating the merchants as celebrities. There's Ben, there's Wayne's. You know, who are the people that are celebrities as merchants? Programming special and signature events. This is a whole other seminar. We're just scratching the surface of everything that we could talk about. But this is programming the downtown. That's a basic idea. But here's what's going on in some other towns. Havre de Grace and Frederick. Anybody ever participated in a cash mob? Does everybody know what a cash mob is? Okay, that's where they, social media, we're all going to, I don't know if we're all going to Wayne's to buy a car, but maybe we're all going to Ben's to, have a hamburger, and you just spread it out virtually. Everybody works together. Every month, a couple businesses are chosen, and in Frederick, they call it, give me $20. They pick a business, they just ask people to go, spend $20, and you keep that money coming back into your small merchants. Annapolis, this is so brilliant. I'm trying to get it happened in Chestertown. Well, you all know what a QR code is, right? You just shoot it with your smartphone. 4,000 plebes come to Annapolis every academic year. You know what Annapolis has done? They've created a business card with a QR code on it that links right to an Annapolis website, and they give it to all the plebes when they register. I mean, you could do it at Carroll Community Colleges. And what they do is, all throughout the course of the year, they go, oh, my folks are coming to town, what's going on? Oh, let me see, they click it with their phone. Oh, look, there's a discount at the Annapolis Inn, for family weekend. Oh, look, the Ram's Head is offering half-price beers through happy hour. And they keep updating it, and those 4,000 Naval Academy guys just shoot that whenever they want to do something. So I think that's pretty cool. Trying to get Chestertown to do it with the university there. College Park, they're using CDB, Community Development Block Grants for Community Development Block Grants. They're doing straight-out grants for physical property improvement to attract new businesses into College Park. Tacoma Park, we're forming our own local credit union so we can invest in local businesses through our credit union. All right, so you don't have to invest in the stock market. You can invest in businesses that you know. I do a lot of private placement offerings where we can get less than 50 investors and we create the capitalization locally to start a new business or to reinvigorate an existing business so our money can go into our local businesses and they don't have to go into the New York Stock Exchange. Baltimore's created a local currency. Anybody ever seen a Baltimore buck? $28,000 worth of Baltimore bucks. The $1 bill is Edgar Allan Poe on the front and a raven on the back. It's very cool. The $5 bill is Frederick Douglass on the front and the Baltimore Oriole on the back. And 200 businesses take it. Local bank supports it. You put down $100 US, you get 110 Baltimore bucks back, and you just spend it around. You pay your window washer, you take the money in, the locals automatically get a 10% discount, and that money stays right there. Doesn't go anywhere else. So oh, you know what Berlin does, which I think is really cool? In season, sorry, Nance, I'm going to have to say this, Mr. Mayor. They take their city employees, put a blazer on them that says, or a vest that says Berlin. They go out on the street and interact with customers. So every day, like one city employee is out there going, oh, this is there, that's there, this is it. Oh, how are you doing? Ever been to Berlin before? That's the way people are thinking. There's so much going on. It's great. These are some aggressive ideas. Work with property owners, develop pop-up pilots at peak season. So what they did in Cambridge with all their vacancies for holiday, they gave people 3-month leases. The landlords participated. Now they got 3 permanent tenancies out of it with pop-up retail at peak season. Pretty cool. Use technology. We'll talk about this in a minute. Encourage crowdfunding. Everybody knows what that is. I've got several clients. We had one lady raise $250,000 on Kickstarter to make a film. I mean, there's so much going on technology-wise and creatively to get money from people to local businesses. It's pretty creative. Subsidized early loan payments. This is a city where the 2 local banks, they wanted to put in a bunch of restaurants. They got 5 people to agree in this row in the town to open restaurants. The banks put up 70% of the capitalization. The rest of the capital had to come to other venues, and they used a community development block grant to pay the loan payments for the first 2 years until the restaurants got going. That's creative thinking. The other program down here is a forgivable loan program with tax incentive financing, where the city lends them 50 grand, the business pays interest only, and with the tax incentive, the sales tax, property tax, and other tax revenue from those existing businesses, they pay down the loan over 5 years. So at the end of 5 years, the business has paid the interest, the city's been paid back by taxes, and you've got new businesses in town. There's creative stuff going on to bring it back to the community. How many customer definitions can I have? I do a whole thing on customer definitions, but for today, we've got local customers, and we've got out-of-market customers. I'm an out-of-market customer. 2 broad swaths that you can cut. And when we think of our out-of-market customers, folks, we have 13 of 15, the highest median household income counties in the United States are our market. We are in the dead center of the wealthiest market in the wealthiest country in the world. Okay? These are our out-of-market customers. All right? The only thing I'm writing off there is Colorado and New York, sorry. I don't think the New Yorkers would come down here. Some do, apparently. But nonetheless, I count New Jersey and Virginia. And look at Southern Maryland. Okay? So we'll see what sequester does to all this. But for as we speak, you know, we've got a great market here. So here's another trend I want to show you real quick. You know what that is? That's e-commerce. That is not going away, whether you like it or not. Okay? I mean, I look at myself as a senior boomer. I look at these young guys sitting here. Nonetheless, how many folks, real quick, just a quick survey. How many folks have a cell phone in this room? Everybody, okay? How many folks have a smartphone? Everybody. All right? Anybody who does not have a computer at work at home? Anybody computer-less? Nobody. Okay, folks, it's here to stay. That's $60 billion of e-commerce last holiday alone. Okay? Permanent change in the way customers react, the way you reach them, the way you communicate with them. How many are digital old country? Nobody in here. Nancy, you still have that rotary cell phone? Okay. Okay, digital old country. All right? That's one way. Digital immigrants. There's a lot of us in that category. You know, we got the, you know, I got my laptop and that sort of stuff. And then there's the digital natives. All right? These guys. And this is a young guy. This is actually looks like a young guy that works in our office. And I got my new smartphone, and I was making some magic words to try to make it work, you know, speaking to it. He just looked up from his desk and he went, I laugh every time I think about it. He goes, "Don't fight it." I said, "Okay, Chancellor, I won't fight it." I gave him a book to read. And Blue, you probably know this. It's called The Lesson Before Dying. It was written by one of the foremost black authors about the South. And he never read it. And I gave him the book. And I said, "How's it going, Chancellor?" He said, "I couldn't read the book, so I downloaded it on my phone. It's pretty good." Point there is that different customers, different ways of communicating. This is one of my favorite comics. Vietnam, Iraq, Watergate, WMDs, civil rights, immigration. Father and son. Well, our music was better. Yeah, but we know how to get it for free. Interesting read, folks. This speaks to out-of-market guests. Look at this room. Can you all market to people not like you? I do a whole thing on customer definitions, social values, sexual preference, race, religion, values, military, non-military, officer, enlisted. Our friend back here can probably tell us that there's some differences in the military between those customer segments. There's a lot of ways to look at it. But here's what everybody in this room, and Ben, we're going to talk about this. If you're serious about being in business, you have got to do these 5 things. I don't care where you are. You need a website. It needs to be mobile friendly. You need a business Facebook page. And by the way, Pinterest is blowing by Facebook. I see some heads shaking, okay? Review sites. You go into Taneytown for restaurant reviews, okay? You know what the #1 rated restaurant is? Sorry to spit on you. You know what the #1 rated restaurant in Ocean City is by TripAdvisor? Anybody want to take a guess? Phillips? Should be. The Fractured Prune. You know why that is? Because they work TripAdvisor. They hand out cards right at the counter and say, hey, did you have a good time here today? The kids love it. Would you go on TripAdvisor and give us a good review? Boom, they're right at the top. Anyway, a whole nother area of conversation, folks. And you need to be with a review site, and you need QR codes, okay? Anybody that's serious about being in business, you have to have these things today. We just saw everybody here's got a smartphone, okay? Now, I want to tell you something else that just happened yesterday that was so exciting to me. This is a fella in Nashville, Tennessee, okay? He started with a couple merchants. He has a website called Shop Main Streets. He started it with a couple of business people outside Nashville. Good old country boy. I could tell when I talked to him on the phone. And these devices. And listen to what she has as her ringtone. Love it. Our music was better. This guy has formed a business where he will, his original idea with his merchant friends was, we want everybody to be able to shop us. They created a digital thing where they do a virtual tour of the store, but while you're in the virtual tour, it'll focus on products and you can actually do e-commerce while you're looking at the store on your phone, okay? So now what he does is, and my brother, who does what I do, except he does it nationwide, I'm Maryland-centric, my brother is in Kentucky right now, Bardesville, Kentucky, the most beautiful town in the United States. You ought to check it out. They did a virtual tour with this guy. Okay, so he does the town, and then he does individual stores, and then they interface with other small merchants around the country. This is coming out of rural America. It's like, okay, let the big boys play, all right? It was so exciting to talk to him. We're having a conversation on Monday about how to bring this to Maryland. You know, I think we should do it for counties. I think we should do it for towns. I think it's going to really say, and I'll show you why in a minute. Oh, sorry, wrong device. We're over here. So this is Shop Main Streets. Check it out, shopmainstreets.com. Take a look at it. You know what's going on out there. And this was even more exciting to me. This is from the University of West Virginia. And I talked to this lady yesterday. There's a little article in the Post that said, the University of West Virginia is starting a new thing called My Mobile Main Street, okay? This is the University of West Virginia funded by a Ford Foundation grant. And what they're doing, and this lady was great. She's a mother of 5. She lives outside of Morgantown. She says, I'm a geek, but we want to make this happen. What they're doing now is creating apps. That one up there says Tucker County, West Virginia. Okay, so you get an app on your smartphone. You hit Tucker County, West Virginia. It takes you to all the towns, all the merchants, what's going on, what's updated, and it's on your phone. And you know who they do it with? Who's our friend here from the local paper? There was a fellow that sold advertising and down in here. You know who's helping them pioneer this as the publisher? This comes out of the journalism department at West Virginia University, not the business department. The Hampshire Review. The young couple that owns the Hampshire Review is all over this. And they're going to go mobile app for rural main streets, so that we compete with everybody. I mean, it's really, folks, I can't tell you how wound up I was yesterday before I came here. My wife said, are you just going to motor mouth these people about these conversations you have? And my plan, I'm looking forward to talking to Carroll County today, is this is the future. Are you growing or are you standing still? So everybody should check that out. This is brand new, okay? But it's to take rural America, where everybody has a smartphone, and launch them into a different low-cost marketing, promotion, branding situation for that out-of-market customer and a vertical conversation with your local customers. It's just the way it's happening. Yes, ma'am?
I have another example of that, and it's probably an unintended consequence. My husband and I, for 6 times now, and we've just come back from one, do diners, drive-ins, and dive tours. You can go to Food Network or Google Diners, Drive, and if you're traveling somewhere, we know where we're going to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We might not know where we're going to sleep, but we know where we're going to
Food's more important.
And it dawned on me, like the second time we did it, that you're supporting the local economy. They're all small, family-owned businesses. The food is always wonderful. They're always really glad to see you. And it's great fun. I mean, some of them you wouldn't go in unless somebody had told you to go in. But
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Unintended consequence.
Ben, you didn't have a sign lit up last night. I drove right by the place. I tried to find it on the internet. I mean, that's the way I travel. My wife and I, well, my wife particularly travels all over the world. It's all done off that phone. It's wonderful. You know, we should have, I was in New Orleans for a conference, speaking at a conference down in New Orleans, and I was on the trolley. I went by a jambalaya house. The whole side of their building, where the trolley goes by, was their QR code. People could sit in the trolley and go, oh, look at this place. Oh, look at the menu. Oh, look what's going on. Folks, it's just what's happening. I don't particularly like it. Keith back there said, oh, you're going to put me on Facebook? No, thank you. This big data stuff, I'm trying to stay under the radar personally. Okay, that's who I am. I mean, I'm a senior boomer. But these guys, it's the way they live, you know, as soon as you can afford that smartphone. This is the way these guys live. So at any rate, folks, what I think, well, this is as a town, which you guys do, I'll get through this, but this comes off this website at West Virginia. This is the dean of the journalism school. She says, rural communities own the problems of the digital divide, meaning we don't have fiber optic cable, we don't have all of it yet. But it says, why shouldn't they own the solutions too? Okay? And I think, I mean, I never thought I'd hear myself saying this because I'm not a big fan of it, but folks, it is the future. We've got to plug in as rural communities, celebrate our local merchants as celebrities they are, celebrate the businesses with longevity, celebrate the volunteerism, the community involvement, the local businesses, and it's coming back down to smaller, simpler, relation-based, community, place-based economy. And as the woman said earlier, one of the ladies was saying, you know, think global, look global, stay tuned into what's going on. We have no choice, and we will, but act locally. And the conversation can go many directions from here, but I'm quite excited about it. I mean, I think this is where the value lies in raising kids, in creating families, and in creating successful businesses. We may not all be millionaires, but we're going to be a lot happier than a lot of folks that are. So I'll leave you with that. Thanks.
Thank you.
I told you he's good. Next month, we're going to have Jim Thomas, who's with Samara Health Center, that's going to talk about de-stressing. Okay, de-stressing. So how to step back. Look at Mark. He's wound up. Casey got everybody wound up here. So we will see you next month. And then in May, we are going to have Congressman Andy Harris. So have a good one. Casey will be here for a little while. Thank you, Silver Oak. Thank you, Francis Scott Key. We'll try to let you win the next game. How's that? Okay, thank you very much.